Alright. This is Omnibus Mystery Theatre Unboxing an Omnibus. This ain't from Amazon. It is from Read Comics. Read like a saxophone reeds, or a stretchy man. We got it out of the plastic bag, and look, there is a box. This is an actual box, not a cardboard envelope. This is, for once, an unboxing video in the legal sense. That's what I like to see. I'll give this to the cat. Maybe the cat will like this too. A box within a box. What a twist. Well, that makes it harder. Same thing happened again. Finally got it open. This is Captain America by Steve Englehart. Let's get out the plastic. This is much later than when this actually came out, because when it came out they had done this to the spine and I didn't want it anymore. But now, a few months later, I'm biting my tongue and accepting this disgusting new spine design that doesn't match anything else on my shelf. Because this was one of the few omnibuses on my wish list. My wish list doesn't even exist. It was like the two Affinity crossovers, this and Captain Marvel's, the real one, Jeunesse Vel by David Peer. Anyway, this is a new cover. New art for the cover, and I like it. They even included Squealy. So well done, I like this cover. Here are all the issues collected here. Captain America 149 to 192. This is what I'm going to call the Captain America by Steve Englehart Omnibus, because it is mostly all by him. It is his run. This is technically Captain America Volume 3. Jesus, holding omnibuses hurts your hands like hell. Since it is Steve Englehart, I want to say these are definitely his best comics. I want to keep it a bit positive, so I won't be slagging him off and making references to him having a mental disability of the brain. For me, Captain America and Green Lanterns are Steve Englehart's best works. I have not read his Batman. I have seen the films, so in his eyes, I've basically read his comics. No, that is it for references to his broken mind. Let's take off the dust jacket. That is kind of beautiful. I still prefer how it used to be when it would be embossed, but this is still kind of nice. We open with 4 issues by Gerry Conway. They're not worth talking about. They feature a depiction of a character that was decided to swap out with an impersonator before the story even got to print, because it was such a lame take on the character, and it robbed him of any of his enigmatic appeal. The impersonator here is notable to me, since the only other writer to ever acknowledge him in a story is Marky Mark J. He is in a Kaiser story, and then he never appeared again. Steve Englehart takes over with 153, and one thing that makes his run all the better is that he is coming onto the book after years of it being totally bereft of any sense of purpose. after issue 113 until this one, Captain America's title is not worth reading. The introduction of Falcon Man is the only important thing in those issues. And so Steve Englehart comes on board here, and he has a good and important opening story. In his first issue, his first story, he introduces the Captain America and the Buscema of the 1950s. He retcons Captain America's appearances in comics in the 50s as being another character, a more intolerant and xenophobic character, as those 50s comics did have Captain America act quite aggressive against anyone and anything non-American. This cover here is the one they chose for the alternate cover for the omnibus. And I think that is stupid because this isn't even Captain America. This is the evil 50s Captain America. They put out a Captain America omnibus without Captain America even on the cover. I think that reinforces my point about the care being put into these collected editions, and especially their covers being nil. But with this, we are debuting a new feature on this channel, which I am amazed isn't already a feature that I do. What cover would be better than the one they picked? I'll point them out as I go along. I think there is 4 or 5 better ones than this, including the very next issue, and maybe even the one after that. They are both quite low on my list of better covers, but they are definitely superior to the one they chose. I mentioned this in Avengers vs. Invaders. One of the supposed telltale signs that it's not the real Captain America and is this Red Scare commie and pretender is that the red and white stripes didn't continue under the back of his costume. This issue, 156, has a really great fight between the two Captain Americas. It is one of the best Captain America moments around. And it is only a bit ruined by Marvel's lack of faith in the reader having the ability to tell the two Captain Americas apart, even though one is in a torn costume that they made Captain America have a lobster tan. Straight after that, we have another winner, the introduction of Viper. Steve Gerber gets a co-credit for him. He is a bland design, but what is cool about him is he straight away has a lot more Ganon for him in the personality department than many of the other stock villains. His setup is, and this is used quite a lot, he has a background in advertising, and so that's almost his real power in a sense. He is an ad exec who thinks up ideas or can polish a turd or whatever. We get a lot of stuff showcasing Falcon Man, and it is a lot better than what came before. The implementation of Falcon Man gets better as the run goes along. One enormous thing Steve Englehart does is give Falcon Man wings. We will get to that eventually. So here we have a team that anteceded the Serpent Society of America. This time it just includes a bunch of C-listers that I consider bigger deals than they are, like Plant Master and Scaredy Cat. The serpent motif will get ironed out in a few issues. Another thing Steve Englehart does is ditch some of the crappy rubbish from the years prior, like Steve Rogers being a police. We get the introduction of Solar Man, and this is another character I consider a lot more major than he is. Steve Gerber gets a co-credit here too. I didn't mean to denigrate Steve Englehart's best work, but the Steve Gerber elements of the two characters introduced are what makes them truly unique. Whereas Viper was classic Gerber, anti-commercialism manifesto, Solar Man is Steve Gerber on a bad acid trip. Most of this backstory for Solar Man doesn't matter in the long run, but Solar Man does have a few prominent appearances after this, even if he has been dead for 40 years now. He was in Marky Mark's run on The Thing. He was in an episode of the Excellent Men cartoon. He was in the Andy books, obviously. He was on the Nazi Thunderballs team. And I bring that up because we are introduced to another member of that team later in this omnibus. And when it comes to Thunderballs, we have two first appearances of major Thunderballs characters in this. Before we get to that, here is my least favourite Captain America bad guy. And with my praise for Steve Englehart's Captain America, it's this point I want to bring up, it's not a perfect run. There's plenty of the real Steve Englehart in here. We get confused ideas like Captain America getting actual superpowers. That doesn't interfere too much. You can half ignore that one. Later, we have the Falcon Man retcon, which is such a big clanger of a fucking mess. It is hysterical. But for me, the worst part is Captain America's relationships with Ailey Atwell and Emily Van Camp. I learnt her name finally. Steve Englehart brings Ailey Atwell back, and I think that is to be applauded. But it doesn't work because it makes Captain America and Emily look like dog shit. Captain America is shagging Ailey Atwell's sister because she is younger, and they keep the relationship hidden from Ailey Atwell. They do it behind her back. And there's some deceit and misleading done by Captain America to keep Ailey happy. Here's our first appearance of the original Serpent Society of America. Much like Viper's team in the earlier issue preceded this team precedes Marky Mark's Serpent League of America. I actually read this issue fairly recently, and I can't remember why I didn't review it. It is a great one. It also introduces Dave Cox, a very minor Captain America supporting character. But since I am a big Captain America junkie, a character like Dave Cox feels really substantial to me. He is a pacifist, and when Captain America fights the Serpent Society of America, which is terrific stuff, there's a great scene with Dave Cox, and this might be the best issue of Steve Englehart's run, and that's not to say the rest isn't good. And it does have some of the awful relationship stuff in it. Even the best isn't the best. Dave Cox, for those interested, he goes on to have some more appearances in Jim Tomatis' run on Captain America, and he ends up being tangentially tied to the Defenders character Slayer Man. I will not get into that now, since we have yet another fascinating villain introduced in the next issue, and no credit for Steve Gerble this time. This is also the issue that I think is important to note when it comes to the infamous Captain America becomes a werewolf story. This issue sees Falcon Man transformed into a werewolf, and this Nighty Sights character, who is one of the main threats in the Cap Wolf story, here, more so than in that, she is very engaging to read. While Viper and Solar Man were notable for having some character traits that made them interesting, in Nighty Sights' case, she is given such personality that she feels unlike anything else in comics at the time, and definitely anything in Captain America's comic. She lost most of this demented schoolgirl playfulness in future appearances, but she makes this issue worth reading. Were I to be polite, I'd simply say skip the next 3 issues. This is as bad as it gets. Truly boring stuff with a racist yellow peril baddie. Once you get past that, here is 168, which introduces, you wouldn't guess it to look at him, but this is Baron Zero. This is the guy who goes on to lead the Masters of Evil in Roy Sternman's Avengers. He's the guy who leads the Thunderbolts. He is introduced here, and it's not until Jim Tomatis' run that he resurfaces and adopts the more well-known magenta costume. By the way, it is magenta. There is a Thunderbolts issue where Hawkeye calls his mask a magenta sock. We get all his backstory here, though, about his dad. And here is the stuff I really remember and have nostalgia for. We begin the No Man Saga. We introduce the original Moonstump here, who is the other character on that Nazi Thunderbolts team. Actually, this cover gives us a good look at him. The way we get his origin has always stuck in my mind, as I think the earliest example in comics of clever juxtaposition between what has been said and what has been shown. Moonstump, later known as Neferman, he is lying and telling people a backstory that makes him sound like a hero, but the artwork shows the opposite. Very clever stuff. Moonstump is effectively the big bad for this, and I could gan on about him, but I already feel like I did that in a 25-minute review of Captain America 379. Here, man, this is the dead obvious cover they should have used. Even the new art they got done is paying homage to this in a way. There isn't any other cover in this that should be so obviously on the front of the Omnibus. This is when Falcon Man gets wings, and then Squealy shows up. Love me some Squealy, even when he was being drawn as a withered, hard man. We get a whole issue with Captain America and Falcon Man fighting Squealy. Steve Englehart brings in a bunch of muties, the Excellent Men, and it is notable as it was during a time when they did not have a book. Their series had been cancelled and replaced with reprints, so this fills a gap in Excellent Men chronology. We get a big fight with Moonstump in front of the White House, and then Richard Nixon is revealed as being a crook, which leads to this, and I think this would be, in my heart, this would be my pick for Omnibus cover. This is the big storyline. This is the big moment. Steve Rogers quits as Captain America. I admit it's not perfect for a cover because it requires the context of it being this huge moment and not a fake out, and it being a big thing. And it doesn't have him in costume, which probably makes it even less suitable as a choice for a cover. Similar feelings for this cover, which debuts the No Man outfit. I think this would be a great choice for the cover, but it requires too much knowledge to understand why this weird No Man fella with a cape is on the cover. Even this splash page could work as a cover. Madam Hydra kills Viper, so that character never got a chance to go anywhere further. And we have some more from the Serpent League, and even the Serpent art. While this is going on, some average Joe called Roscoe becomes Captain America and dies. And this is the motivator Steve Rogers needs to return as Captain America, just in time to fight Red Skull Man, and to get to the bombshell reveal that Falcon Man used to be a pimp and a drug dealer. Rather than end the omnibus with when Steve Englehart ends his run, we have a bunch of fill-ins between him and Jack Quimby taking over. Only thing worth mentioning is that one of them features this woman who is later retconned into being Moonstump. The second and more famous one. We've actually got a lot of bonuses here. You get to see Jason Byrne draw Captain America as No Man, and loads of stuff from Foom. Plenty of bonus art too, pencils and inks. They've included loads of it. I'm just skipping through a lot of it and showing bits of it out of obligation. And there is the new artwork done for the main cover of the omnibus, which is much better than the variant cover that doesn't even feature Steve Rogers. I had to start quickly getting through this, or this video would have been an hour or so. The No Man stuff sounds like it was 2 issues long, but it is in actuality like a 14-part epic. And don't think I'm cheating you out of talking about the art change here. You'll be hearing all about this artist in another unboxing in a few months. I even forgot to mention this cover, which I think would make a good front cover too. But again, it's the case that that's not Steve Rogers as Captain America. That's Roscoe. But at least you do have Steve Rogers there as No Man. I think this would make a good front too. It's an iconic bit of imagery, but it's too spoilery, I reckon. So that's this Captain America Steve Englehart omnibus. A lot of good stuff in it, and I like the original art for the cover. I'll give this omnibus 7 stars and 7 stripes up, because I'll be in the cold ground before I recognise Missouri, and apparently 42 other states.